Chairman Brown, thank you for having the hearing. Look, I come from Montana, and many Montanans have had trouble finding available housing, same way across the country. The price points have gotten too high. It has gotten worse during the pandemic because so many people think that the entire state's like the show Yellowstone. And I guess that's okay, but that's really not true. And across our communities in Montana, some places are seeing median sale prices of a home rise 40% in the last year alone. This is pushing more and more people from potential home ownership to looking for homes to rent. So, Ms. Bruner, what impact do these challenges have on the ground in communities like yours?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I think that there is a profound impact on local families when homeownership opportunities are taken away from them, and an amazing impact on the neighborhoods that are replaced by institutional investors owning the properties. And if I can build on the question that was asked earlier about the motivations for these investors, one of the things that's fueled it is what Professor Desmond talked about, and obviously with the home prices crashing going back to the time of the 2008 housing crisis. And then there's been, since that time, an amazing amount of institutional money and non-recourse debt that's been available. So many of these investors have been able to buy properties without any guarantees of the debt. And the portfolio that we purchased, for example, it was in receivership, not because the portfolio failed, but because the owner just walked away, and then the judge put the properties into receivership for the protection of the investors and lenders. So there's been too much capital out there chasing places for investment, and then this product has been made, has really just been created out of whole cloth. Instead of investing in apartment buildings and office buildings and industrial buildings, all of a sudden single-family houses became the desirable sector, and there's been so much money chasing it, and the debt has been too easy to get. And then as you go back into the individual neighborhoods, when you have 4,000 houses in a community the size of Hamilton County, in every single neighborhood, it makes a difference. And we're getting calls from jurisdictions throughout the county on a regular basis asking what we can do to help them fight back.
Okay, and also in my state, a growing number of homes for rent are being converted into vacation rentals in many communities, which puts additional stress on already low housing supply. Ms. Yennel, are there strategies that have worked to prevent local residents from being displaced or ease the impact due to tourism? And I know it's a two-edged sword, but quite frankly, when these homes are taken off the markets because families can't afford to buy them because they're used for vacation rentals, that adds to the problem. Are there any strategies out there?
Well, sure. Anytime that rental units, and especially affordable rental units, are taken off the market and used for some other purpose than housing low-income people, that exacerbates the existing shortage of homes affordable to them in that community. So it points back to the real need to, in places where there aren't enough homes for the people who live there or want to live there, we need to build more. And to build more market rate apartments, we need local communities to remove restrictive zoning laws and allow the market to build those units and have them affordable to middle or higher income renters. For the lower and especially extremely low income renters, the private market on its own cannot build and operate apartments that are affordable to them because they can't pay enough in rent that covers the costs to build and operate the apartments. So for them, federal subsidies are needed, either in the form of, if there are an adequate number of homes and the people living in them can't afford them, in the form of rental assistance to be a bridge between what they can afford and what rent costs, or in the form of building apartments and ensuring that they are deeply affordable to extremely low-income people through programs like the National Housing Trust Fund.
Ms. Yennel, as long as you're warmed up, we don't have we don't have any immigration policy in this country, quite frankly, and we need one because it would help with workforce. It would actually have some positive impacts on reducing inflation. But nonetheless, we're locked up on that issue in Washington, D.C., and we have an incredible paralysis. Do you have any thoughts on where we could get workforce to build these houses?
And I'm sorry, I don't fully understand the question, how we could get
Well,
them.
the point is, if we're going to increase
Oh.
supply, we've got to have workforce. We got no workforce. We've got no immigration policy, and we don't have enough folks to build houses. Do you any thoughts on that?
That's a really important and good question. I don't have immediate solutions to share, but I would love to follow up with your office afterwards to share some.
Super. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.